Joining me right now is Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, thanks very much for being here this weekend. It is good to see you.
Good to join you.
So we're not allowed to drill on federal lands, but she'd like to have abortions on federal land. Your reaction?
You just can't make this stuff up, Maria. If they do not get their way on an issue, what do? They try to change the rules, and they take to the streets and they riot. And what they would be doing is defying a Supreme Court decision. And also, they want to go around the Hyde Amendment. They want to go around Mexico City policy. To them, it is imperative that they, the federal government, be able to control access to abortion. They do not want this to be sent to the states, as the court has said. It is the jurisdiction of the states to set the regulations and restrictions around abortion. But for them, that's not good enough.
The Democrats are running on abortion, on gun rights come November. Kim Strassel nailed it in her op-ed a couple of months ago, saying nothing but abortion because they're not talking about some of the other issues that are critical to the American families today going into this July 4th holiday. You're talking about the highest cost for just everyday goods in 40 years. What are you hearing from constituents in terms of the inflation and gas story? When do you expect we'll see some relief?
Maria, I've been in so many of our counties in Tennessee this week, and to a person, they talk about not only how it is affecting the family when they fill up the tank, when they go to the grocery store. Many of our rural counties, people will drive 20 miles, 30 miles one way to get to their job. Also, they've been setting their county budgets, which go into effect in September. And what they are seeing is quite simply this. When it comes to meeting that budget for school buses, for first responders and EMS, for law enforcement, they are having to more than double the line item that is there for fuel, because it is costing them so much more. Well, all of that lands on the taxpayers there in that community. All of that means that there's going to be less money for schools or other programs there in the community because of the cost of energy and fuel. And they are saying something has to be done. And of course, you and I know, your viewers know, Joe Biden could do something about this today, but he is choosing not to. He could open up Keystone, Alaska, offshore, go back to fracking, allow drilling on federal lands, get those drill permits out there. But he promised 3 years ago he was going to end the oil and gas industry. He is making good on his promise. And this is not Putin's problem. It is not Putin's price hike. It is Joe Biden's.
Yeah. Well, we know that inflation started stoking way before, several months before Putin invaded Ukraine, and it has been stoked by all of the spending. But the administration is also choosing not to tighten up the border. The administration being pressed this week to take action at the southern border in the wake of the major rig tragedy, a 18-wheeler in San Antonio, Texas, as the death toll has climbed. At least 53 migrants now dead, including 5 teenagers. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is demanding Biden do something. Here's Greg Abbott this week on Fox.
The way that the Biden administration is not enforcing the immigration laws is attracting people and enticing people to make this very dangerous trek, causing them to lose their lives. I urge the president, stop the loss of lives. You have the ability to stop people from losing their lives if you make it clear that no one can come across illegally.
And yet, Senator, the White House continues to say that the border is closed, and they're calling out the governor. They say he's making this a political issue. Vice President Harris, the so-called border czar in particular, criticized the governor for his comments, saying that he's making this political.
I could not believe her comment. The Biden border policy is an open border policy. It is one of the most uncompassionate things I've ever seen in my life. Maria, there are people that are being sold into sex slavery. They're being turned over to gangs. The cartels are working on U.S. soil. We had over 100,000 people lose their life to fentanyl last year. American citizens, there is nothing compassionate about what they're doing. There is nothing that makes sense. It is very intentional that their border policy is an open border, no restraints. And the fact that they will not give the Border Patrol what they need, the fact that they are standing by while you have tens of thousands of Americans and their families being adversely impacted by drugs and fentanyl. My sheriffs here in Tennessee tell me 80% of the drugs that they apprehend are laced with fentanyl, whether it's gummy bears, dollar bills, whether it is pills, whether it's marijuana. The fentanyl is so pervasive, and it is killing people. They should secure that border and get their arms around crime and the issues that we are seeing in the streets, the crime in the communities.
It's just so disturbing, everything you say about all of these things laced with fentanyl. Very scary time. Senator, thanks very much. We'll keep a spotlight on it, and we appreciate you joining us this weekend. Thank you.
You got it. Take care.